They say that if you want loyalty and you're in Washington, D.C., get a dog. Well, I have 4 dogs, right? Because I don't like dealing with people.
That's Laura Loomer. Welcome back, by the way. She doesn't like people, as she just said, but she is a big fan of President Trump and often has influence within the Trump White House. A recent meeting between her and the president resulted in several firings on the National Security Council. But recently, very recently, Loomer did break with the president over his plans to accept a jumbo jet from Qatar. Tara Palmeri recently spoke with Laura Loomer. She is the author of The Red Letter on Substack and hosts the Tara Palmeri Show on YouTube. Tara, it's great to have you with us. You talked to Laura Loomer about why she doesn't have a job in the White House. Let's listen.
Yeah. The president always says whenever we have these meetings, oh, hire her, and then they say, oh, don't worry, she's already, we're already in the process of that. But then nothing ever happens. So I don't know. It's very strange. My press pass request also hasn't been approved yet.
How do you digest all that, Tara? Is she that influential, or is she influential on a moment-by-moment basis?
That's a good way to put it, Major. Thanks for having me on the show. It is hard to kind of understand, right, how influential Laura Loomer is. But, I mean, if someone can walk into the Oval Office and they can get the national security advisor to fire basically is a huge chunk of his security apparatus, overruling him in that meeting. I mean, I would say you have a lot of power. She was allowed inside of the Oval Office. She gave the president information that made him make major hiring decisions. So I don't think that we can minimize that power. I think Laura knows how to play to Trump's heartstrings, which is loyalty above all. And she's able to prove to him that people around him are disloyal to him. And he trusts her because of that. I think he's a deeply suspicious person. And I think that Laura understands that. And she spends a lot of her time trying to find information that shows him that he can't trust the people around him.
In that vein, Tara, and I think you're dead on with that, she describes herself as a journalist, but to me, she's more of a really aggressive opposition researcher for one client, Donald Trump. One client and one client only, and she has used that opposition research to go after those in the Republican Party who at any time in their career, any time at all, ever crossed President Trump. Listen to how she describes it.
J.D. Vance at least admits that he was wrong, right? He's not running from it. He at least admitted that he made these comments about President Trump. These other people, on the other hand, are trying to pretend like they're Trump loyalists. They're trying to pretend like they've never said anything derogatory, or that they're working in the best interest of President Trump, or they completely disowned him after the January 6th protests at the Capitol. And then, after the election, they came back trying to wiggle their way in.
So, Tara, is she trying to create a kind of Laura Loomer seal of approval?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, she decides who she thinks is worthy of being around Trump and who's not. I think there's a feeling that if you've shown attrition, she has this bar for neoconservatives. I mean, she thinks that anyone who has any connection to the prior administration, the George W. Bush administration, the Biden administration, the Obama administration, they should be nowhere near the White House. Even if they were civil servants, they were people who were, not supposed to be in political roles. I mean, one of the guys that was fired, he just so happened to be the son of someone who worked for Dick Cheney. He basically had to pay for the sins of his father. And so, Laura, I mean, she has a way with President Trump, though. I mean, the people around him don't want her around. And they were nervous. When this interview was about to come out, they were nervous about what she was going to say about them and if it was going to get back to President Trump, because they realized she does have a level of power with him. He does respect her. And she wanted to be in the White House. And I know what you mean when you said she should have been a journalist. I think she would have liked to have been his press secretary, maybe. I think she would have liked to be at that podium or be a senior advisor. There were many times where he said, I'll bring you on, and she was blocked. Whether he was okay with that and he was just sort of placating her, it's unclear. But there's a feeling, I think, that she feels that she's being left out. And just now, I mean, she's turned on him for wanting to take that $400 million jet from Qatar. too slimy for Laura. So.
Exactly. As you know, Tara, this is a time of maximum political fluidity. And you talked to Lindy Lee, who was a Democratic surrogate during the campaign. She's now promoting herself as a conservative, maybe neo-Trumpist. You had a conversation with her. Let's take a listen to some of that.
Like, people change or evolve over time.
It's fair. People can totally change, but the question is, you worked for a campaign.
I didn't have a choice because I was a Democratic.
Nobody has to work.
You're not getting it. Politics is my entire life. What do I do without politics?
So you don't believe what you're doing?
Are you like, should I become a teacher or something? Are you asking me to change my profession?
I actually think that if you're gonna stand up and speak for other people as a surrogate, if you're gonna work for a campaign, and now you're going to come out with a book, like, you should believe in what you're saying. Like, if you didn't believe in it then, how are we supposed to believe you now?
This is my truth. Take it or leave it. I don't need you, Tara Palmeri. I don't need you to believe me.
Tara, you've got 5 seconds to wrap that up. I mean that, 5 seconds. I'm sorry.
Your truth. I mean, is it the truth? I think she's got a show now on a right-wing network. She's got millions of people following her. And that's why...
So it's working. Tara, we'll have you back. I promise. We will have you back.